Let's talk about something that can completely transform your day, the daily reset. It's really the difference between you being the architect of your day or just being a passenger getting dragged along for the ride. Ugh, you know that feeling, right? You wake up and from the very start, things just aren't clicking. You feel reactive, you can't focus, and by the end of the day, you're just drained. Well, what if you could stop those days from ever really starting? And I know it sounds way too simple to be true, but a ton of evidence, from personal blogs to actual scientific studies, all points to the same thing. Those first few minutes after you wake up, that's your single biggest leverage point over the next 24 hours. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a simple blueprint for your morning. Then we'll dig into the science of gratitude and why fuel is so important. After that, we take a surprising little detour into system design before we pull it all together so you can design your day. Okay, first up, let's get practical with a real blueprint for your morning. And look, this isn't about adding a whole hour of complicated stuff to your day. It's about starting with a super simple, personal plan. So here it is, the 5-minute morning mindset mastery routine. It's just 5 steps, about a minute each. You start with what you're grateful for, then you jot down your goals. After that, you pick your top 3 priorities for the day, create a daily intention, and you finish it all off with just 1 minute of meditation. That's it. Simple, right? But it's an incredibly powerful little sequence. And this quote right here, it just gets to the heart of it. This little routine isn't just a nice idea. For people who do it, it becomes the actual foundation of their day. When they miss it, they feel it. The whole day feels off. That's the difference between a day that flows and a day that, well, you know. So out of all those steps, the one that kicks the whole thing off is gratitude. It seems so simple, almost too fluffy. But is there something more going on here than just, feeling good? Let's take a look at the data. So let's see what the science actually has to say about this. A really fascinating study from Ritsumeikan University in Japan wanted to find out if practicing gratitude could have a real measurable impact on our work lives. The main thing they were looking at is something called work engagement. Now, this isn't just about being busy. It's a real psychological state of feeling fulfilled, positive, and totally absorbed in what you're doing. And it's absolutely crucial, not just for a company's success, but for our own personal well-being. Here's how the experiment worked. They took 100 employees, and for 12 days, they split them into 2 groups. Group 1's job was to keep a daily gratitude journal, just writing down a few things they were thankful for. Group 2, the control group, just wrote down what happened to them during the day. No emotional focus, just the facts. And the results? Well, they were pretty stunning. The group that wrote down what they were grateful for showed a clear, measurable increase in their work engagement. They were more focused, more absorbed in their work, and the control group? No improvement at all. The only difference was that one simple act of gratitude. And this quote from the lead researcher is the real kicker. See, most older research just showed that grateful people tended to be more engaged. But this study showed a causal link. That means the act of practicing gratitude caused the increase in work engagement. That is a huge deal. Okay, so we've reset our mindset. We're feeling grateful. But our brain is a physical thing, right? It needs fuel to run. So that brings us to the next piece of this puzzle, the actual fuel for our engine. How do things like breakfast and exercise play into our daily reset? Well, a study published in the journal Nutrients decided to test this exact question. They took 82 teenagers and for one morning split them into 4 groups. You had the control group who fasted and did nothing. Then you had a group that only had breakfast, a group that only exercised, and finally, the group that did both, breakfast and exercise. And the results are pretty amazing. The group that combined breakfast and exercise saw a 15.2% jump in their math scores. That's more than double the improvement of the group that did neither. It just goes to show the direct, immediate impact that fuel and movement have on our ability to think clearly. So why? What's actually happening here? This chart gives us a massive clue. Those dotted and dashed lines, those are the 2 groups that ate breakfast. You can see their blood glucose levels, which is basically brain fuel, went up and stayed nice and stable. Now look at the solid lines, the 2 groups that fasted. Their blood glucose just drops. It's really that simple. A fueled brain is a high-performing brain. All right, we've talked mind, we've talked body. Now, I want to make a connection that might seem a little out there. We're going to connect all this back to the world of system design.
I know, it's a weird question, right? But the answer is they both need a reliable, cheat-proof daily reset. For us, it's about starting the day fresh. For a video game, it's about things like daily login rewards or new quests. And if that system isn't designed perfectly, people will find a way to exploit it.
This quote from a developer on Reddit just frames the problem perfectly. Think about it. What if you could cheat your morning routine? Just roll the clock back and do Sunday over again. For game developers, this is a real problem. If the game just trusts the clock on your phone to give you a daily reward, a clever player can just change the date on their phone and claim that reward over and over and over. And this gets to the heart of the issue. A system can tell time in two ways. There's client-side time, which is just the clock on your device. It's easy to check, but it's also easy to manipulate. Then there's server-side time. That's a central, universal clock that every device has to sync with. It is the single source of truth. You can't trick it. So the solutions that developers came up with are all about creating a system that's consistent and reliable. It can't depend on the local user. They use a central server for the time, they standardize everything to a global time like UTC, and they even have ways to check if a user is messing with their phone's clock. The keyword through all of this is consistency. Okay, so let's bring this all back home. How do we take all these ideas and design our day? We're going to pull these blueprints together for your own personal daily reset. Okay, first, structure is your foundation. That 5-minute routine we talked about, it's not just a to-do list, it's a psychological launchpad for your entire day. By making those first few decisions automatic and intentional, you save your brain power for the bigger challenges that are coming. It's the stable framework you build everything else on. And on top of that solid foundation, you build your mindset with gratitude. And as that Japanese study proved, this isn't just about feeling warm and fuzzy. It's an active choice that actually, literally, changes your brain to be more focused and engaged. It pulls you out of a what am I missing mindset and into a what's possible mindset. But even the best car in the world can't run without gas, and that's where fuel becomes your engine. The nutrients study couldn't have been clearer. A properly fueled and activated body leads directly to a higher performing brain. If your structure and mindset are the software, then food and exercise are the hardware that they run on. And finally, the master principle that holds it all together. Consistency is your system. This is the big lesson we learned from those software designers. Your daily reset can't depend on how you feel when you wake up. That's client-side time. It's easily manipulated by a bad mood or a late night. Your commitment has to be like that server clock, a universal, non-negotiable source of truth. It runs every single day, no matter what, ensuring the system works. That's how a tiny daily habit builds into massive results over time. So structure, mindset, fuel, and consistency. Those are the pillars. You literally have the blueprints now, from psychology, from biology, and even from software engineering. So the only question left is, what will you design tomorrow?